What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix. It's the WrestlePlug podcast. I am back after a brief hiatus. We did TLC, but obviously we've been very short on content because of my surgery and some other factors, COVID-19 related. Apologies for that. Hopefully, you are going to enjoy more content on the regular from us, not only on the YouTube channel, but also on the audio podcast as well, which you can obviously download always for free. Just search WrestlePlug wherever you get your podcast from. And of course, you will be able to subscribe and check out our backlog of an incredible amount of podcasts, almost 500 now at the WrestlePlug. Everything from American wrestling reviews, Brit Rest reviews, and beyond. WWE Raw tonight. Nah. Not feeling this one as much. I normally really like WWE Raw. I thought this Raw was okay. However, it left me with a sour taste. What better way for WWE to kick off its main roster programming for 2021? It's a brand new year. And ultimately, what we want to say in the year 2021 is that we are still living in the year 2001. Because here comes the legends. What better way to open up? Now, to be fair, I don't mind the interaction of the legends. However, as you all know, the big glaring discrepancy here is, of course, the return of Goldberg. Goldberg. He just won't go away. Goldberg is back again, and he is challenging one of our favourites. Because nothing says we love WWE and we love modern wrestling like having an old man come back to give our favourites a shit kicking. He's done it with Roman Reigns. Or he was going to until Roman Reigns was sensible enough to take himself out of WrestleMania. He went against Braun Strowman. He went against Bray Wyatt. He went against Dolph Ziggler. He went against The Undertaker. Like, oh my God. Go away, Goldberg. It's not even I don't like Goldberg, right? He's fine, okay? He does his job. He's big. He's menacing. He's powerful. Is he in great condition for his age? Absolutely. I believe the guy's in his 50s. Never looked better. Fantastic. Batista is also testament to that, by the way. He's a big hulking unit of a man in his 50s, and he looks incredible. However, Batista knows when to piss off. Goldberg doesn't. That's the big problem here. Goldberg comes out, challenges Drew McIntyre for a WWE title match. Why? Why do we need this? I get it, right? WWE had its worst ratings, forever, basically. WWE Raw did, had its worst ratings of all time, so I'm told. If you care that much about ratings in the modern era. It's funny, isn't it? AEW and NXT fans constantly going back and forth on social media. These ratings matter. These ratings matter. These ratings don't matter. These ratings certainly don't matter. And then all of a sudden, Raw got the lowest ratings. It must suck. Wait a minute, I thought ratings don't matter. But only when we're talking about Wednesdays. Make your fucking mind up. SmackDown had 3 million last week anyway, so everyone shut up because SmackDown's pissing all over them. WWE Raw. Okay? Goldberg coming back might bring in some casual fans. It isn't going to long-term fix the problems that are involved with WWE. I don't actually think there are as many problems as people make out, okay? They are trying to push new stars. Who are the main roster champions right now? Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns. What more could you ask for? Probably your two most hardworking, most iconic individuals right now in the company, you could argue. You know, look at Drew McIntyre in his stature. 6'8", 6'9", huge Scottish guy, incredibly handsome, great body, everything you want out of a world champion. Roman Reigns, my God, on fire as this incredible heel and has such palpable charisma, very much the face of the company now. There's no problems there. And they're mid-card champions, they're undercard champions for the most part. I think they have them right as well. For the most part, the New Day were tag team champions until they were disposed by the Hurt Business, who I think are great. I think they're excellent. I think the Hurt Business is good for business. I really do. I like that faction. I think they got a great United States champion in Bobby Lashley. He's legit. Gives us a little bit of a crossover platform as well, being an MMA guy. I know it's, a very small sample size in comparison to someone like Matt Riddle, but still, even a 24/7 champion, R-Truth, lends himself well to this programming. Funny, entertaining, and so on and so on. Big E is the Intercontinental Champion. You can Street Profits are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And look at the Women's Champions. Asuka and Sasha Banks. World class. Even the Women's Tag Team Champions, Asuka and Charlotte Flair. I think they've got arguably the best champions they've had in the modern era. I really do. I think across the board, every single one of their champions is top quality and should be a champion and represent the company. So that's not the issue here. The issue is that the majority of their booking, from what I can see, particularly in terms of WWE Raw, tends to be catered towards people like me. And that's great. Maybe that's why I love WWE Raw so much, because there are so many things that I love. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Matt Riddle for obvious reasons, but Matt Riddle versus Bobby Lashley and seeing the opportunity for Bobby Lashley to kick his ass, great stuff. I love the Hurt Business. I love AJ Styles. I love the New Day. I absolutely love Drew McIntyre as champion. Keith Lee getting a push, being in the main event this week, fantastic. However, obviously, ratings are down because people don't want to see this stuff. They don't want to see Randy Orton setting somebody on fire. Who knew? For me, it doesn't actually come down to the quality of the product. It comes down to the way you perceive it and the way that it's presented to us. For instance, I'll give you an example, right? During Randy Orton's tirades, okay, all night he's going around insulting legends. He's going up to Mark Henry going, I'll tell you what, unless you want me to whip your ass, pedal your fat ass on out here, whatever. Cool. That's what a heel does. That's what he's supposed to do. That's fine. Problem is, right, as a viewer, casual viewer, I then see Byron Saxton on commentary, you know, how deplorable, how disgusting. You know, he is so rude and, oh my God, I've never been so outraged. 2 weeks ago, the man set a human being on fire. Now, I know that we want to say, kayfabe, that the Fiend is kind of like this supernatural entity of sorts, but nonetheless, he set him on fire. So this is your limit, is it, of deplorability? Not that he set somebody on fire, and then he tried to set a woman associated with the person who already set on fire. You tried to set her on fire too. It's so all over the place. They don't know whether they're coming or going a lot of the time, and they don't present it smartly enough. They treat their audience stupidly. They give their audience, right, a very convoluted and very illogical plot hole, storyline, whatever you want to call it. You know, in case in point, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, which is actually really compelling TV. But then they get to the TV product itself, the weekly product, after the great pay-per-views. And I honestly think WWE's pay-per-views have been lights out this year. For the most part, I think they've been absolutely excellent. Fast forward, all of a sudden, yeah, so you can't really go any further than I've set a man on fire. So what do we do now? I don't know. Set the woman on fire and then abuse a load of old people? What are you doing? Something that me, Kyle, Steve, Jay Miller, everyone who's been on the podcast with me, we always say continuity and logic. Continuity and logic, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be ridiculously convoluted or difficult to follow, but it has to kind of make some sort of sense. For instance, Randy Orton set someone on fire. What are his repercussions for that? Nothing. Okay. You're asking me to watch this as a fictional TV series, which is what it is, okay? And for the most part, it feels like a fictional TV series. However, why are people compelled to watch things like Walking Dead, Game of Thrones? Because every single week there's that hook. Every single week there is that emotional investment. That isn't there every week with WWE. That's not to say they don't do good television, because I believe they do. I believe that WWE Raw is good. However, it doesn't make any sense. Randy Orton has just destroyed a supernatural entity by setting him on fire. So surely there must be some repercussion for that, fictional or not. No. WWE just says, okay, well, he comes out, he brags about the fact he burned somebody, and then he tries to burn a woman. And then he has leniency. And we're just going to let this guy stroll around backstage and threaten to beat up old people as well. And it's like, it becomes too unbelievable. It becomes too ridiculous. When your semi-realistic but kayfabe/fictional TV program is far more outrageous than anything that Game of Thrones or Walking Dead could do, that's a problem. Because you're supposed to see... The idea is, right, it's a fictional show that is presented in real time. So it's like reality TV of sorts. But you're doing things that are so crazy that they make Game of Thrones look normal. That's a problem. That is a problem. And that ultimately is why people turn off. People are thinking, okay, well, I watch wrestling for a certain reason. Maybe because of the physicality, because I want something that is a more entertainment-based fighting product, like UFC, but with even more promos. But instead, what you're getting is car crash, over-the-top segments with people getting set on fire and being thrown off of stages and, you know, insert whatever, cups falling from the ceiling, whatever it might be. And don't get me wrong, I love the Street Profits and I love the Guts, but all these things are very silly and nonsensical. And from a casual standpoint, a casual viewer is going to tune in and say, well, why would I watch that when I can watch genuinely compelling, world-class, Emmy award winning, Oscar award winning, whatever award it might be TV. I'm not going to watch that, am I? Why would a casual fan watch WWE Raw when they could watch, the box set of Walking Dead or Game of Thrones? If they wanted comedy, for instance, don't get me wrong, I love R-Truth and I think his stuff works. But overall, when they try and do this crazy, wacky comedy or stunts or whatever, there's no reason why they wouldn't watch something like Ninja Warrior or Total Wipeout. There are so many different alternatives to what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is spread themselves across the board and say, hey, oh, you like Ninja Warrior? We got guys who can do crazy flippy stunts too. Yeah, but not as well and not as entertaining enough. And also, they only do it in a microcosm. They don't do it for the whole show. If you really love crazy flippy stunts, you're going to watch Total Wipeout or Ninja Warrior or parkour videos, like Star on YouTube, whoever it might be. You're not going to tune into WWE Raw and go, I can't wait to see, WWE Raw has just the right amount of fix for me when it comes to flipping midgets. Not really. No thanks. Doesn't make any sense. They don't know who they're trying to capture. Their hardcore audience is always going to be there. That million or so people are always going to watch Raw. They always have done. They always will do. How do you get more? By being the most interesting and most compelling product available. They don't do that. That was why Raw was so popular back in the Attitude Era. That combined with the fact that it clashed with popular culture. So this Raw is pretty much a microcosm of that. Okay, it's great that you brought back all these legends. That'll probably get you a little bit of a spike. But ultimately, how many of those people were really legends? I hate to be shitty and rude, but come on. Alicia Fox? I love Alicia Fox. Fantastic women's wrestler in her time, and very much an important part of that working cog that was the women's evolution, so to speak. However, for me, legend means that you are truly one of the all-time greats. A lot of these people aren't. I love Melina. I think she's fantastic. I think when it's all said and done, she could be a legend. I've loved her work in NWA as of late. However, not really a legend. Tatanka. IRS, I would argue possibly a legend. Mark Henry, to a certain extent, yes. It was very wishy-washy. I love Jeff Jarrett. But for me, when you say legend, I'm thinking Rowdy Roddy Piper, Macho Man Randy Savage. Ultimately, I appreciate those guys have passed on. But there are living legends that are available. Ric Flair, absolutely. Ted DiBiase. The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are legends. For me, Tatanka, Mark Henry, those guys, they're fantastic. And they are absolutely Hall of Famers. But are they legends? Obviously, that's subjective. Some people will say, well, of course they're legends. Some people won't. My idea of a legend is that you are truly up here and beyond all your other peers. And there aren't. Let's be honest. If you are truly the greatest, which is what a legend should be, then frankly, you should be better than everybody else or the majority. So when you start just throwing the word legend around toward the majority, just say we're bringing back classics. Classics would be a much better word, would it not, than legends? We've got some WWE classics. Check out Jimmy Hart. Now, Hulk Hogan is a legend. I don't like Hulk Hogan. I think he's a leathery basketball skinned piece of shit. But he is a legend. Cool little segment with him and Drew McIntyre. But it all comes back to the biggest problem of this show. There was loads of good stuff on this show. Randy Orton had a great match with Jeff Hardy. Although they pushed the Legends angle way too much for that. He's taken out a legend. He's wrestled Randy Orton hundreds of times. Come on. Like, this isn't new. And when they're, pulling his ears, for instance, when he's sticking his ears through, this comes back to continuity. The majority of people who are watching this product would have seen that happen in that Hell in a Cell match, would have seen that happen before. They saw Randy Orton 2 weeks ago set a man on fire, and here you are 2 weeks later trying to convince them that him sticking his fingers in the guy's loopholes, where his ear stretchers or whatever they are, those crazy earrings. I'm not exactly an expert when it comes to piercings and whatnot, as you can see. I'm more of a tattoo person, but ultimately, him doing that, yeah, that is sort of graphic. But 2 weeks ago, I keep saying this, he set a man on fire. So, no, that isn't all that special and impressive to me. And I'm not that shocked because of what I saw 2 weeks ago. Again, man on fire, fingers in somebody's ear canal, stretching your ears a bit. A little bit of a difference there. There's the problem right there. You're trying to convince people that all of these things are equally shocking, and they're not. There needs to be measures to this, and ultimately, that might come down to commentary as well. I like Tom Phillips. I think Byron Saxton is stupid and over the top. He basically is a mark. He's been asked to play a mark, and he does that very well. But it's dumb, and it's very condescending. And he only really appeals to kids, because kids are like, yeah, Byron said it's nasty what he's doing to that man, beating him up. Boo! That's great if you're 8, but You can't tell me that the majority of people who watch WWE Raw are 8 years old. They're not. As far as I know, in America, this show finishes at 11 o'clock in the evening. Most young kids are in bed well before Raw finishes, which is why they have this shitty highlight style package of Raw where they cut out all the nasty naughty bits, you know? I mean, TLC must have been about 20 minutes long for the 8-year-olds. And probably rightfully so, because I wouldn't want my kids watching that if, God forbid, I ever had kids. I don't want to see Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre. Not just because Goldberg bores the shit out of me, because it feels like, once again, you're going backwards. This isn't 2001, it's 2021. You had an opportunity here to really set the story out. It was very cool. The idea was, hey, look at all the legends watching these two modern-day gladiators. Keith Lee, Drew McIntyre, they are the cream of our current WWE Raw crop, and they are going after each other for the most prestigious prize in the game, the WWE Championship. What a great way to start off WWE Raw, the very first Raw of the new year. What a great way to set out your story. Yeah, we do have these legends, that's great. Check us out, you know, tune into our product, boost our ratings a bit, see our legends, but ultimately the main event will be between these two fantastic young modern gladiators who are going to go toe-to-toe in the meaty horse battle to end them all for the WWE title, and that's fantastic. And you should have just left it there, but no, they've got to throw that extra bit on. Goldberg's music hits. Now, am I intrigued when I hear his music? Of course I am. I thought he was just going to come out and say, you know what, Drew? You very much are the WWE champion to lead this company in the modern era, and I salute you, shake his hand, raise his arm, and leave Drew in the middle of the ring to enjoy his moment. And that would have been really cool, actually. I kind of passed in touch, but no, we've got to try and get as much blood out of the stone that is Goldberg as possible, which is why Goldberg will most likely face Drew McIntyre in an average or subpar match at best. It might bring in some casual viewership. It might bring in a few numbers. But ultimately, it won't improve the quality of the product long term. And this is the problem with WWE, and very specifically with Vince McMahon. He is obsessed with the short-sighted cash grab that is trying to bolster the ratings. He's always reacting, but he's never proactively trying to improve ratings. He is not trying to build a long-term product that people can enjoy. That's why NXT is so popular, even though it doesn't necessarily have the numbers in terms of TV ratings to show for it, because it is consistently and regularly the best TV programming for my money in wrestling in the world. I think it's better than Dynamite. I do. I know that upsets AEW fans. I think it's got the perfect levels because it isn't too over the top in places. But then again, it isn't also boring and just solely wrestling based. It kind of straddles that line well. If you applied the very same methods of NXT and how that works to WWE Raw, I guarantee you would see an improvement in ratings. But the problem is, of course, that we have different people in charge. The creative for Raw, it's constantly being changed. And I hear constant stories and rumors that even when they have got the script set, even when they are ready for WWE Raw to get going, all of a sudden, Vince comes storming in, God damn it, we gotta change this right now. Last minute changes all the time, and that shows in the quality of the product because some things look fantastic and other things just look boring or pointless. It wasn't a terrible Raw, but when you come out at the end of Raw, at the end of a fantastic WWE title match and say, yeah, that's great, but what you want to be focused on is this old guy here who was really good 20, 25 years ago, there's your problem right there. Overall, WWE Raw, fine. Loads of good stuff to get your teeth into. Some good rivalries building and blossoming. Do I like the fact that the Hurt Business lost not only to the Lucha House Party but also Matt Riddle? Not particularly. At the same time, I like MVP's reactions and they sell it well. They're excellent at being heels. Great to see Teddy Long, for instance. Lovely to see Melina, who is still roasting hot as always. Some great legends in there. Torrie Wilson, by the way, utterly timeless. That woman doesn't age. She is absolutely beautiful. I thought Angel Garza getting rolled up by R-Truth was actually one of the highlights of the show because he was stupid enough to think that Cardi B was in a locker room which actually contained, of course, the Boogeyman, who, by the way, for his age still looks fucking incredible too. Congratulations, sir. I don't know how you stay that shredded when you're well into your 50s. That is quite an achievement in itself. But, yeah. I can't get away from the fact that it's Goldberg again. And I don't want to see Goldberg again. So that's it, really, as far as Raw goes. It was fine, but I am left with a very bitter taste in my mouth seeing Goldberg close out the show, especially when he shoves your WWE champion on his ass after the WWE champion has called him essentially his dad. That segment did not work. It made Drew look stupid, and frankly, it upsets the audience because they have to put up with Goldberg's fucking face again. Whoopee. Can't wait. So there, WWE Raw in a nutshell. Tell you what, if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed listening to me rant, if you thought I made some good points, even if you didn't, like it, dislike it, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to, let your friends know, tag your mates, whatever it takes. I am going to be here on the regular to discuss wrestling, whether I like it or not, because I like entertaining you guys. Keeps me busy during a very difficult period. Obviously, if you are British and you're watching this, I appreciate the lockdown has just kicked in. Just to let you guys know, there is a home here. If you want to talk to somebody, our DMs are always open. You can speak to people. Don't feel like you have to be alone or isolated, because I know it is a very difficult time for people. Not everybody has a great support bubble or network that they can approach during a lockdown or during difficult times in COVID-19. Be safe, wear a mask, try and follow the guidance, but ultimately also make sure that you look after your own mental health as well, because they are important. But for myself and Nick, thank you very much for watching this cheeky little WWE Raw review. Like I say, if you have enjoyed it, make sure that you interact with us, and I'll catch you very soon for more content from the WrestlePlug.